I do not know how to swim.
Are you sure you can do this? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, why don't you get in and I'll pull it out.
With Misty's dietary choices now hinging on her willpower, Dr. Dow wants to delve into the impact of Misty's addiction on her family.
How much do you worry about your mom right now?
A lot. She's just in the house all the time. It's just, like, horrible.
How long has it been since you've been out on a date?
Wow. A while.
How long?
A few years.
What's holding you back?
My addiction.
Does your addiction make you put on weight, and when you put on weight, you don't feel good enough to be out at a club?
Right.
Misty hasn't been on a date in years. Her tartar sauce addiction has cut her off from her life. What scares you the most?
You could possibly die on just eating tartar sauce too much, Mom. And when I think about my sister, you won't be there for her for when she grows up, for things I can't teach her. We want you to stop.
How does it feel hearing your son talk about, his fear of losing you?
It hurts me to know that. It really does. It really does. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You love your kids. I can see that so much.
I had no idea that my son felt the way that he felt. I was totally in the dark.
Are you living right now?
No, I'm
What are you
not.
doing? You're existing and drowning in tartar sauce.
Exactly.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Do you want to start living?
I want to start living.
All right.
I do.
So can you commit that you're going to choose your family over tartar sauce?
They're worth it. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them.
To watch Kelly's face was incredible. She was horrified.
That's 900 pounds of potatoes, which represents the amount of potatoes that you eat in 4 months.
It's disgusting. I thought it was years worth. When I found out they were only 4 months worth, it disgusted me.
The other half, the cheese. $120 pounds of cheese. Each of those bags represents a month's worth of cheese for you. What I'd like you to do is pick one of those up and pour it onto the potatoes.
Lifting the bag, it was heavy. Oh my God.
30 pounds.
It's sinking in that I do actually consume this much cheese, and it's gut-wrenching.
Kelly, what do you want to say to these cheesy potatoes?
I don't even want to look at it.
Disgusting?
This was painful, difficult, but it was necessary so she'd really come to reality of how much she eats.
Our next step is to see what damage you've done already to your health.
Okay.
Watch the potato.
Kelly has submitted a blood sample for testing. Now the results are in.
The first thing that I wanted to look for was metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is a precursor to both diabetes and heart disease. It's characterized by a cluster of factors, the first one being triglycerides. Triglycerides are fats in the blood, and they're driven up by sugar, starch, and damaged fats. If you have metabolic syndrome, you'll have higher than 150 for your triglycerides. Yours are 359. The stakes for Kelly are high. She's got to change now.
I thought I was healthy. I just thought I was just overweight.
You're morbidly obese. You've got metabolic syndrome. You are in no way healthy.
I'm very scared. This is the first time I've ever seen anything on black and white of how sick I am.
The good news is it can all be fixed. But every bite of cheesy potatoes is like digging your grave. And we can reduce a lot of this in a matter of months if you are willing to go through what it takes to do it.
I'm willing. I can't go on like this anymore. I am motivated now. Whatever it takes.
After the shock therapy, Kimberly is very ready for the next step. I really want Kimberly to know that she deserves, like any human being, to be happy. I wanted to remind you of what your life used to look like. How does that woman look?
Happy.
But you were happy because what you were doing in your life.
Seeing the slideshow brought up a lot of feelings that I had forgotten. Felt like welcoming back an old friend I hadn't seen for a long time.
Do you remember your mom then?
Yes, I do. She was a very fun-loving, free-spirited person.
And when you were doing things, you were happy?
Absolutely, yes.
When we don't fill our life with things, bad things just sort of creep in. Kimberly has a life that is devoid of relationships. So she's filled her life with eating ice cream bars alone on the couch. When you feel happy with your son, there is no craving to eat ice cream bars.
Then
So how do we use that information and how do we apply that to your life?
It's about substituting something good and nurturing in a emotional and spiritual way from something that really is not nurturing me.
That's exactly right. The more we can fill Kimberly's life with the things that are going to give her a sense of purpose, passion, pleasure, the less ice cream bars she will eat. We need to start filling your life with relationships, with activities. We need to change your own relationship to food. Are you a little bit hopeful that we can do this now?
yes, I am. My emotional gas tank has been running on fumes for a long, long time. You know, I'll get better mileage if I keep my emotional gas tank full.
Christine has had a sweet tooth since childhood, but her love of sugar turned into an obsession after her divorce 20 years ago. In order to start the healing process, Christine needs to face things head on. From her addiction to sugar, to her fear of the water, to her painful past.
I never went to my son or my daughter's graduation. I never felt welcome.
Yeah.
That is moments I am never going to get back.
I see the feeling when you talk about this. It's bitter, but you know what I also see?
Pain.
Sadness.
There's a lot of pain.
In the right here and right now in your life, you can start spending time with your son. All of that other stuff, Christine, all of the past, if there's something that you cannot control in your life, we need to move you to a state of acceptance because you can't do anything about feelings of the past. The trick to creating happiness is to not make any room for them. I want you to fill your life with pleasure and purpose and power.
Dr. Dowd helped me realize that I was the only person holding myself back. I have no one to blame with how I lived my life except for me. I'm gonna think differently now.
The next morning, Dr. Dow wants to work with both Christine and Kevin to show them how to create a happy memory that doesn't involve sugar.
This looks fun.
I have never in my entire life been in anything like this. It looks kind of small and unsteady.
The next part of Christine's treatment will be to extinguish her fear of the unknown. This is important in treating her addiction because it will allow her to have pleasurable experiences and relationships. I want you to experience life, and I want you to teach yourself, I can do this. And I'm having a meaningful, loving life with people, with your son.
It'll be fun.
Okay, keep telling me that.
It will
okay.
be.
The unknown is always frightening,
You guys suited up.
but I need to do this for myself and for Kevin, and I'm going to do this. Failure is not a word I want to use anymore.
I'm gonna help you guys get out here.
I'm scared of water because I do not know how to swim.
You sure you can do this? You sure?
Yeah. Yeah, why don't you get in and I'll pull it out.
Get in. When I first sat in that kayak, I thought, we're doomed. Then I programmed my mind that I have to trust and I have to create a moment. It was so amazing. When we were out there and things were real smooth, I'm like, this is so much fun.
Good work, Christine.
I totally let all my fears go, and I kept telling myself, we'll be fine, this is fun, this is fun. And then Kevin said, there's a wave coming, and I thought, oh, it'll be like a roller coaster. I got up and saw Kevin.
When I came to the surface and saw Mom, she was laughing hysterically and having a great time.
You did it!
We did it. I was in the water. We did it. We did it. We did it.
I don't think I've ever seen Mom that joyous and having that much fun, and it made me feel ecstatic.
This is the stuff of replacing food with meaningful relationships and experiences in your life.
This memory did not involve me having to wake up thinking, we have to bake cookies. You know, this is something Kevin was excited about doing, and I got to do it first with my son. This is so exciting. We did it.
How's it going?
Thanks.
On day 7, Dr. Dow and JJ returned to check on Whitney's progress. Although Whitney's last 4 days on her own weren't easy, she still managed to add 6 mini meals and supplements to her daily diet. But now she needs to find out what's causing her stomach pains.
I'm getting a lot of pain, a lot of bloating.
Whitney's stomach is hurting because her whole intestinal system hasn't really had to work for 18 months.
I don't know if my stomach isn't working. I don't know if my intestines aren't working.
Like all of the above. None of this has been used to working.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's not like you can just flip the switch back on. It's a dimmer switch.
It's awesome news to find out that what's going on with my stomach is normal or what I'm going through.
Now it's time for Whitney to see if she can conquer her biggest fear, eating meat. 18 months ago, this was the food Whitney choked on and narrowly escaped death. And for Terry, it's a long-awaited evening out with his wife.
In the last 18 months, me and Whitney haven't had dinner out, you know? It was a huge part of our marriage that's missing.
What are you gonna have?
Steak actually sounds really good. What are you thinking?
This last challenge is crucial for Whitney's long-term success.
Oh, here we go. Fettuccine with spicy pork meatballs.
That sounds really good.
Eating meat again, that is a very big step for her.
Pork-infused meatballs for you.
The first thing I thought of when my plate was set down in front of me was, there's no way I'm gonna be able to eat that.
That looks really good. I'll make you a deal. You eat some meat, I'll try one of the broccolis. Ready? Come on. Is she doing it?
She's chewing.
When I was chewing that meatball and it was my swallowing moment is when I got real nervous and tensed up.
One big swallow. There's nothing wrong in there. Sit down. High five. Good job.
For me, that one bite of meatball was winning this battle.
Awesome.
I felt like I conquered my biggest fear in the world.
Unbelievable. What's it like for you to be having dinner with your wife at a restaurant?
It's amazing.
Whitney has broken through that fear, and we feel comfortable now leaving Whitney and Terry to the rest of their lives.
You guys saved my life.
This was such an important intervention. When we met Whitney, her life was at stake, and now Whitney not only is getting